And welcome to another episode of the Fake Pigskin series presented to you by fakepigskin.com. This is Dynasty Mind. Today we are, sorry about that. Today we are going to just dive into an exciting prospect for the 2018 season. We are clearly winding down in the NFL season. We are in week 13 and we are looking forward to the playoff runs. For some of you, you might be in the midst of things and you want to just grab on and go for the gold. It's that exciting year again. For others, you are out of the race maybe and you need to know to start preparing for the off season. Maybe you have accumulated a picks. If not, try now. Playoff teams are more than willing to give you their second, third, maybe even their late first if you are giving them an enticing offer enough. Because your team needs a new fresh of bodies, and it can be acquired through free agency or the draft. And more so than a couple of last years, we've seen that rookies contribute. It doesn't have to be first rounders. We've seen late round rookies just contribute for the team because of injuries, because of ineffectiveness, because they have such a great and fast development. So do not ignore the role of a rookie. Don't overestimate them, but don't ignore that the possibilities of them contributing. Think about it. Did you expect Cooper Kupp? Did you expect Alvin Kamara? Did you expect Kareem Hunt? All of these guys to contribute this early for your team. They're already figuring into a permanent role with the team. And since they're young, we're looking forward for them to have at least a 3 to 5 year window of solid production. But also don't ignore some of the younger sophomore veterans, things like that. Those still have value in the league. The leagues are still won by players who are... if your team is overwhelmingly composed of stronger veterans and things like that. So without further ado though, I would like to continue my series of looking into the prospects that, my favorite rookies in the 2018 class. If you missed any of my videos, you can go back. I've broken down Saquon Barkley, I've broken down Darius Guice, and as with all the other videos, I have to mention this is not a scouting video, this is not like a pure evaluation. I have no background in scouting or evaluation, but I do enjoy watching the film, seeing how they fit, and then comparing my thoughts to what scouts will release, what Matt Wallman, who's more fantasy focused, or FF Ghost Ryan, who will release his Orange Report. All those, I compare my thoughts to their scouting reports. And then I can get a sense of whether it's worth, whether my own eyes are working for me, meaning that these are the rookies that I want for my squad, or these are the rookies that I can just gauge and set a value for later on. So I will be pointing out the positives. I will be pointing out, mainly focusing on why I like this prospect, and also talk a little bit about my hesitation and how all of those will contribute to how I value that player by next year. I present to you Nick Chubb, a senior running back out of the University of Georgia, Athens. And one of my favorite running backs, and this is my third running backs I'm already breaking down. So this upcoming class is at the least as exciting as the previous class where we had our Fournette, where we had our Mixon, Christian McCaffrey. But this class is also built with really a variety and a strong list of running backs, and Chubb falls into one of them. Now, you notice that I mentioned that he's a senior. Most running backs we see do declare after their third year. And a little background for that is Nick Chubb had suffered an injury during his second year, and was only building up to form in his junior year, where the team subsequently lost to their in-state rival Georgia Tech. So his reason for going back to school was that he'll give his team another chance to beat Georgia Tech. At the time when he was going back, I thought it was a bad idea. I thought that he needed to get into the pros early so he doesn't have as much tread on his tires. and that he wouldn't be able to sustain his lofty draft expectation. Well, I think after 27 season, we're nearing the end of it, kind of proved to me that I might be wrong. I mean, I still have to see how he would be like, how he would be valued once he is looked into as a 22, 23-year-old rookie running back. But for the most part, his 2017 college season can be considered a success, as UGA, University of Georgia, now has not only been their in-state rival, they have a chance to play in the Final Four playoffs, which is amazing because this team has put together a solid season. They'll face off against Auburn this Saturday, and I wish them the best of luck, and for them to go into the postseason as one of the teams that may have a shot at the BCS championship. Okay, without further ado, let's look into why I like Nick Chubb, or who Nick Chubb is, rather. We'll start with the stats. This is the lazy box score scouting kind of idea, where you look into his stats, why he stands out to me. A lot of times because college is so vast, there's so many players that sometimes the stats will be the first things that grab your attention, and you go from there to tease out. So Nick Chubb has a reputation, but also has the stats to back it up. 3 of the 4 years, he have always exceeded 1,000 rushing yards. His catching, I don't see that as being a major role in his game, but I also don't feel like it's a big concern, maybe. He doesn't get a lot of receptions, but we'll see once we head into the film segment to see how his hands are. I won't be addressing much of that because I like to focus more on what he does well. So the stats look good. A little bit of a regression, and mind you, his second year, it was the year where he tore some ligaments. So 2015, this is the year where he didn't finish the season, where he just suffered a major injury. So we're looking at a very early breaking out in his true freshman year, when Todd Gurley was suspended for some BS autograph selling violation, whatever NCAA decide to come up with. So without losing a beat, Nick Chubb stepped in, rushed for 1,500 yards as a true freshman, which is an amazing feat if you think that college is all about stats. He does it in one of the stronger defensive conference, who continually puts out NFL talent on the defensive side as well as the offensive side. So Nick Chubb is fantastic. There was high hopes coming in for him in his freshman year. But then when his sophomore year, unfortunately, he suffered an injury. Before he suffered that injury, he was looking to match or even exceed his season total of his true freshman year. But unfortunately, it was I think it was an MCL, LCL tear, which cost him his second year. His third year, he came back. He carried just about the same load as he did in his freshman year, but the explosiveness wasn't there. The amazingness that you felt for him was not there. Even then, I still thought that Nick Chubb would have been one of the better running backs for that class, but alas, it was a class loaded with the guys like Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, and Joe Mixon, and all those guys in there. So then he took a step back. Say he goes back to school. Now he's he might be looking, if you're looking at the numbers right now, it might look a little bit more down than his down year. But this is the year where he is splitting carries even more. His workload is significantly reduced. He has at this point in time, not counting the bowl games, I think he's about 30 to 40 carries fewer than what he had last year. He has a chance to, of course, after this weekend and the postseason, that he'll have a chance to kind of exceed his junior year numbers. But as you can tell by the stats, you might not be as excited. But we will go to the film, and I will try to convince you why I have Chubb as my third highest running back. Okay, so. And there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube. I think if you're a subscriber to Draft Breakdown, please be a subscriber. It's only like $2 or $3 a month. They have better cut-ups. They have more updated cut-ups. And it's a very great tool for those who enjoy watching the film and but don't have time to watch the whole game. Okay, so I will show you some positives out of Chubb's game in his junior season. Remember, his junior season was his down year, but he still showed strength. So imagine this would be his like floor level. We will look into, taking sound off, the South Carolina game 2016. This is where Chubb is just coming back to form, coming off that major injury. So we'll look into this play here. So even though he doesn't show that explosiveness, you can still be excited about Chubb's ability to cut and change directions. If he were back in his freshman year, that would have been a major gain, but he hasn't lost that ability. Well, we'll try to look at it again. He hasn't lost that ability to cut, stop, start on a dime when needed. It may not look to explode into the hole, but he is able to be patient, wait for the blockings to develop, see that nothing's there, and then bounce out. Okay, another play that will show kind of his point of attack and his vision. I'm sorry, his power. Sorry, that will show off his power. And remember, this is he's still recovering. Still show a lot of power in the push and the way he can push defense around. And you'll be very, very much, it's a good thing for a running back. I want you to notice something about the way Chubb carries the ball. And this is the thing I noticed throughout his all the films that I've been able to kind of watch and looking for things I like. Look at right here. The way he carries the ball, high and tight. It reminds me a lot of like the Tiki Barber on his peak year, where it's very secure, and he's not letting, he knows he's getting into around, I think the term is garbage, like all of this, but he holds the ball up tight and high to his chest and just doesn't fumble much, I don't think. But it shows, one of the things that it shows me why Nick Chubb may have an edge over a Saquon or Darius is his maturity in understanding how to run. That is one of the signs of showing maturity. That is also a great sign that he is a very smart, intelligent man that is not playing the game, not overly relying on his athleticism. Perhaps it's due to the fact that he might have learned to change up and develop his game while he knows that he can't rely on his explosiveness as much. Okay, let's look at another example of what makes Chubb a fantastic player to watch. This is his 2016 game against Ole Miss. He still has that bounce and can slip through by defenders. And this is all done without the explosiveness that you may see from him in his true freshman year. You see, again, he holds the ball high up tight right here. Even with that cut, the cut is still there. The moves, the techniques. I love all of that about Chubb. Still holding the ball up tight, not letting defenders be able to strip him. And that is a very That is one of the signs that I consider as a mature running back, understanding how to protect the ball well, and uses stiff arm, still runs angry, and yeah, these are some of the markers why I like Nick Chubb. Now, don't be misguided by his stats, because he is sharing the ball a lot with a equally fun running back that I might be able to talk about later, and that is Sony Michel. But also a very explosive running back, DeAndre Swift, is also in the backfield. So it's a big time share in his senior year, but it has worked out for Georgia. It has worked out for Nick Chubb. Now, going into the pros, this is one guy that I mentioned last night in my Twitter, that if I miss out on Barkley, if I miss out on guys, I am not unhappy if I can land a Nick Chubb. And he might be a third, a fourth, a fifth. One of those picks is Nick Chubb, as far as I know at this time. Other people might have jumped others above him, but for me right now at this point, Nick Chubb will be solely my third highest rated running back, or highest valued running back out of this rookie class. So you have a sense of Nick Chubb in his recovery year, so-called. But let's look at what it is for Nick Chubb in his freshman year and why people get excited about that.
The player can fans expect in Athens?
He's extremely strong, really well put together. He's 5'11", 216 pounds. His coach raves about his weight room numbers. He's benching over 350 pounds, squatting over 500, and power spinning over 350 pounds.
You talk about what Georgia is going to miss with Gurley not in action. He's been one of the best running backs in Georgia Bulldog history.
You know, are you settling in though? Do you understand now that this is kind of your show?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a 4-week head start. I got in trouble right now. This time, he's a very good kid. I'm sad to happen to him.
Are you feeling comfortable though in the number one role? Do you think you can handle this?
Yes.
Now, of course, highlights tend to slow down speed of film, making things more dramatic than it really is. But if you look into some of the Chubb 2014 highlight in real film, you'll see why everyone was excited about him. Let me see if I can find it and jump on. Okay. A little angry running there. You see that? That was the Nick Chubb that I miss between 2015 and 2016. Now, so some of you might be more afraid, and this is why he's also not as highly valued as Saquon or Darius, because injuries can rob you of explosiveness, can rob you of a lot of speed and strength, and it's a legitimate worry if you look into his recovery film. So instead of me telling you that, you know, he's back or that he's looking close to back, I will let you decide that. I'll give you a film of all his 2017 season. Of course, it's another highlight film, so take it for what it's worth. And I'll do that at the end, and that will be my outro. So we do have a question on Twitter. Aaron Music at Evangelist, Avalange list, ask, how good does Nick Chubb make the Colts? That's a very tough question, because I am excited about Marlon Mack, but and I do see that Frank Gore is close to being done with this franchise. This franchise is just completely just man, we're gonna see a new. Hopefully, we're gonna see a new GM. We're gonna see a new head coach. We're gonna see someone who will run a more sound offense. So that might not be a bad thing, because Nick Chubb and Marlon Mack can coexist the way Nick Chubb did in UGA, Marlon Mack being the Sony Michel to Chubb. And I think he could actually, if he can build around that ground game, have a healthy Luck, you have a great 1-2 punch, you have someone that might be better than Gore, what Gore can give you, and you have youth on his side. I think it can actually, be a major upgrade for the whole Colts offense, because Chubb can be is not overly reliant. He's still reliant like any other running backs. He still relies on good blocking, but he can also make things happen by himself. And that is one fantastic thing that you can hope for if you're a Colts fan. And you don't even need to spend a first-round pick to get him. Maybe a day 2, second-round, third-round pick. Nick Chubb will be excited. I guarantee you that your team will not be disappointed, because this kid is smart, this kid is mature, and this kid has an explosiveness. So with that said, I will sign off this time. I will sign off with the 2017 highlight film of Nick Chubb. You be the judge of if he's back or not. You be the judge whether he is he should be considered up there with the other running backs, or if you think that you're more cautious about his recovery, about his injury. All right. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Have a fun time watching fantasy football.
To be lying, and I've seen him.
Concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% doesn't need his name up in lights. He just wants to be Chubb to the right, got the edge, and Chubb feels so enlightened.
Averaging 5.7 yards a carry. 20-yard scamper on first down. Gets the rock again here. Evades one tackler, busts outside 45. Cuts back, barging into Sanford territory.
Making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Tuck's picking it up. Scooter Hennessy anyway. He never really talks much. Never
a big, heavy, kind of grinder type of group. Chubb again breaks out of an ankle tackle and gets
exactly where he wants to.
Chubb busting outside. Chubb finds a lane down the far sideline. Touchdown, Georgia.
His will is beyond reach, and that would all unfold the skill of an artist. This is 20% skill, 80% fear, be 100% clear, cause Ryder was ill. Who would have thought he'd be
First
the
down,
one to
Chubb
set the
again.
West in place?
Chubb, second effort, cutting back at the 10. He can see pay dirt. He's got it. Touchdown. 15 yards out.
Yeah, why you had the stupidest verses, dude, is the truth. Now everybody giving them guest spots and stocks through the roof. I heard you fucking the best.
Chubb, nice cut. Touchdown, Utah.
5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name.
Georgia takes over, and Chubb straight up the middle and blows his way.
But a fucking nihilist porcupine, he's a prick, he's a cop, the type women wanna be with and rappers hoping to shop for 8 years and I'm making patiently waiting the
Guy, how much offense does he know? Chubb